in your last film also you have done an underwater
Yes,
sequence.
I actually took a while to take the step. I don't know what stopped me. I should have done it earlier. We have a great underwater diving team. They call the Underwater Film Services.
Can you give me some of the best of the crazy stuff that you have done?
We did a single shot action sequence. It's the opening title scene of CA Topper. You know, I've spoken
It's a
about this
DOP's
earlier.
hangout
It's
space.
a DOP's hangout space. In that hangout space, you will find one guy from Ari chilling out there, one guy from Kino, guy from Red. Just like, so hey, what do you want from us?
The principles, basically.
Principles. You
School
must leave
principle.
after 14 hours. This is the shift and all of this stuff. What is being followed?
Exactly.
And for the special price of 1 lakh, you will get the uncut, unedited version.
That's the Sindhi speaking. Hello everyone, my name is Sandeep Menon and welcome to Beyond the Brief. I'm the Managing Director for Fat Monk Productions. Today on this show we have a special guest. He wears many hats. He's a DOP, he's a director, he's a DJ, he's an entrepreneur. He has his names attached to shows like Tribhuvan Mishra, CA Topper, Nadania, Call Me Bae, and he's worked with fantastic production houses like Dharmatics. He's worked with networks like Netflix. And I'm really happy to have him on the show. We have none other than Anuj Samtani on the show. Thank you so much for making your time and being here.
Thank you for having me, Bob.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to meet you after a long time now because we worked some time back. And then the Titan happened, and I'm very glad. I mean, fantastic work done by you, and me as a company got a lot of appreciation because of that work. Thank you for that.
Of course. Hopefully more to come.
Yeah, of course, many more to come. I just want to start off with a good start that I want to know. As much as I know, we've spoken so much. I would love people to know more about you. I think you are somebody who had exposure to cameras and lights in the very earliest stage. Before, like for me, I know that Chennai Viscom was the first.
You wasted time going to college.
Of course, I know college. That's a different part of it. Even in third year, teacher asked me, "You admission?" So you were someone who got very early exposure to cameras. So I just want to know how that early days of Anuj was with respect to this thing. And we have some common friends in your school also.
Chennai boys.
Chennai boys.
Represent.
Yeah. So I want to know a little bit about how the early days in Chennai was.
Sure. So Stereo Vision started in 1975. At that time, my father Anuj Samtani started the company actually selling music. So we were purely a music-based business. It was in Mount Road in Chennai. Like, you know, even A.R. Rahman, Sivamani, all of these people used to come and buy music. We started selling English music. Dad even helped the first nightclub called Gatsby 2000. You know, he had his own weekend nightclubs in Bangalore. So it was a very music-oriented company. An uncle of mine, I think it's roughly approximately 18 years now. He won an Academy Award actually. His name is Kish Sadwani. So he won an Academy Award for building something called the Director's Viewfinder.
Yeah.
So what that item is that you can go on a recce with this little handheld mount which has an eyepiece and a PL mount on it.
Nice.
So you could take your lenses to the recce and actually see the proper depth of field, the exact framing, with an output that you could save it on a clamshell. That time there were no Shoguns and stuff. So it was way back in the day, the film days. So through that, he's an optics genius as well. So through my uncle, we started to get the opportunities to start selling equipment over here. And at the time, also being a single like a family-run business, you know, all your music was landmarks, all of that popped up. And we started bringing Kino Flow into India. We were distributors for Ari, and then we did Dido Light and K5600 and GoPro, and then it just built up into a really big.
Your dad was interested in anything new?
My dad was interested in making money. Like he'll sell an old broken shoe to you also with a profit, and that's the genius of a Sindhi businessman. Unfortunately, I didn't get that brain. I somehow ended up getting a creative brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I was in school, just generally surrounded by gear in the office, you started seeing cameras, you started seeing lighting. Then DOPs would come, and then obviously, when you're a distributor, you hold workshops. So you just tend to get a bit of curiosity about what this world is. When I was young, like the handycam was mine. I would shoot this birthday party, this family get together. The handycam was in my hand. I was the one that's always doing that. But also the intrigue of electronics. Like if you buy me a toy, like when I was a kid, the first thing I did, I took a screwdriver and I opened. I see the motors. I'm like, what is this? How does it work?
Nice.
So you know what I mean?
You're a curious kid.
Yeah. The beauty of cinema is it's an art and a science mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially cinematography, if you come to think of it, it's a heavy balance between an art and a science. But I realized that to be a filmmaker, going to college, doing a degree for those 3 years, for me, I'm not saying don't go to college, that's not my words, but for me, it made sense. So I came to Bombay, I moved from Chennai to Bombay for Whistling Woods, and you've also been to Whistling Woods. And that was that. I mean, I actually studied, the first 6 months they teach you everything.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get to choose. So initially, before joining film school, I want to be a director. And I still want to be a director and I've become a director.
Yeah.
But according to me, in a film school, getting taught direction, I feel is not as interesting as learning another technical aspect that could make you a better director. Because I feel direction is very intuitional.
Of course.
And it's like, being a people's person, how do you communicate with your team? And,
it's a decision-making skill.
It is for sure. So, a current close friend of mine and my first roommate and the person who I met, his name is Shaunat Mutwani. He's a very accomplished automobile director. So both of us were classmates and roommates. And we decided that, why don't we learn something that'll make us a better director? And he was not very technical or, he didn't have the knack for the camera like I did. So I was like, let me study cinematography, framing, colors, blocking, understanding the camera, lighting. All of these things for me are a huge visual part of filmmaking. So I thought, okay, let me study cinematography.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to study editing. So editing again, exactly what shot from where to where, how a scene comes together.
And that helps, huh?
It 100% helps how to shoot a scene. He's like, I'm going to do editing and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I fell in love with cinematography. And it was one of those moments, when you had the practical class where you have that, your eye goes into the eyepiece, it's like your first kiss, the woman, where like you don't forget that moment.
Yeah.
So it's like your hand goes on the eyepiece and you're like, man, this is something, and you get goosebumps and you're like, I think I'm going to do this for a bit and then switch to being a director.
Which was the first camera?
Eventually. We learned on the digicams, we learned on 416, 16mm. We also learned on the 435.
Whistling Woods, right?
Yeah. We would rent them because we were shooting film. I was the much earlier batch at the time.
Awesome.
But when we were studying film in film school, we thought film was going to stay. Moment I graduated, done everything, shifted to digital. But luckily, we obviously learned digital as well. So that was great.
No, I remember. I mean, even those BMW cameras and all those things were one of the early learnings for us. And even with respect to, I've done audio engineering, so analog learning of audio to a digital shift. That was an amazing shift, and I think we were very lucky to understand the basics.
Yeah.
Like how you said, you open things and you check. I think now that's very necessary for people to know.
Yeah.
It's only everything is, even in a camera, we don't know what goes behind, or the tech, or rather the basics are the same.
No doubt about it.
It's just that ACE has become better.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed to say this, but I don't care about shooting on film anymore or any of that nostalgic stuff. Like I just like how easy my life has gotten with digital cameras, and it just gives you a little bit more brain space to concentrate on what you're shooting, and making that content better. And when you're always utilizing technology to sort of make your images look better, you know what I mean, in some way.
Which brings me to the thing that these days, in digital, it's become a lot of formats, a lot of different deliverables is like, because I am a producer, I know this because it comes to me. 4 is to 5, 9 is to 16, 16 is to 9, 1 is to 1.
People are just
you want
jabbering numbers these days sometimes.
You just want everything that needs to come in at the end of the day, and they don't understand that it's one camera which is shooting all of
Yeah. I mean, I kind of found a simple hack around it. It's not the best and ideal way to do it, but I know most of the cameras give you the opportunities to shoot openly.
Yeah.
Other than the red is it's more of a wider VistaVision sensor. You get a 3:2 open gate on the Venice.
Yeah.
So what I do is I shoot open gate. I do the 16:9 and the 9:16 markers. You have to shoot a little wider, generally. But then the thing is, when you're shooting a character, even if the character, you need a full shot from head to toe, on the left and the right, you don't see anything.
Exactly.
You come closer, then you come to a point where the shoulders come shoulder to shoulder. So now if you want to close up, it just looks so weird when you're shooting a frontal close-up. You have to keep the character to the side a little bit, and then you're panning and scanning, and then you don't know what all is happening. It's just like...
But still, you still have to get certain shots reshot. I mean,
you will have to reshoot a couple of shots. Yes, especially product.
Yeah.
So just yesterday we were shooting for Quality Walls, and so obviously there's a huge range shot, right? So the range shot goes from here to here. There's tubs, there's bars, there's all of that stuff, and then now suddenly we're making a pyramid. Because you know what I mean, you need all of those products, and then it's like you're going height and you're not going width.
Yeah.
So that also becomes a bit of a tricky.
Do you see the filmmaking going to 9:16?
100%. 9:16. Because of you, if y'all are watching this podcast in 9:16, y'all are the problem. So essentially, people are unwilling to just move their phone, CinemaScope, while watching videos. So now what's happening is that ad films, primarily Reels content, TikToks, everything is now, it starts there, right? So it starts there where you're just so used to swiping and watching content that way that when a video, where you have to shift it, you're just going to not watch it that way, and you're going to be wasting what agencies have to call real estate space on the phone. You know what I mean? You're missing out on real estate. So then now you're forced to start going into that aspect ratio. But then I guess as filmmakers, you have to adapt to what the demand is, and now the demand is that. So platforms like Netflix and Amazon, moment you hit the video, it goes into a CinemaScope, so you're kind of forced into watching it that way, which is something that we like as filmmakers. So keeping that in mind, they're able to come up with an algorithm that tells you that this length of data or this length of story will work, and within this length of story at this timestamp, you have to create some emotional curve.
Yeah, these are research which comes to us saying, you need to have a high point.
High point here. So all of this stuff comes from data. As a filmmaker, you hate that, but you can't beat the numbers sometimes.
But do you feel the way you used to watch films in theatre?
Yeah.
I used to wait to go and watch films. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after joining film school, I became critical about films.
Yeah.
But before that, I think my journey before that was much better because I used to watch films as films. Yeah.
Yeah.
Later, even though I became critical about it, still I enjoyed the process of watching film. Now I somehow just feel like it's when I have time, or rather it's
a combination. It's a combination of producers playing safe. It's a combination of the fact that it's unaffordable to go to the theatre anymore. And the third thing is that right now, in a world where if you're saying that in the next week the same film is going to come on my TV or Netflix, what is giving you the incentive to go to the theatre to watch it?
Right. Absolutely.
Would I pay 4,000 rupees to take my wife and 2 kids?
Correct.
4,000 minimum.
Yeah, with popcorns and with everything.
Yeah, if they're selling you their fancy momos and sushi and all of that stuff, which they're doing right now, which basically PVR is a theatre, I feel, like a restaurant that shows movies. It becomes 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 rupees.
Absolutely.
Now that is just absurd. When that is like a 6 years Netflix full HD, ultra, whatever UHD subscription with family members.
Correct.
How many ever years? Do the math. You just get what I'm saying. So I feel like there has to be some method in this madness in how films should release, or a timeline between a theatrical and an OTT.
And to not sound like a producer and come back to being a DOP is a method of also how you shoot these.
Yeah.
Okay. So, me and my friends, we joke about it that when you're shooting for, for the reels and for shooting for the OTT, it's the death of the wide shot.
Hmm. Of
Okay.
course.
So we keep setting up, and you ask my assistants, Devi, Raj, Alpesh, all of these guys. We'll set up one huge wide shot. It'll take us like probably the previous day 6 hours to light up one huge jib shot, one drone, something. Then in the edit, they'll start with one cell phone and they'll come to the face. It's like, where's that shot gone? They're like, कुछ दिख रहा नहीं उसमें phone में. At least you're seeing it on some theater, you're like, okay, you can see the detail, you can see some information. But when people are watching it on their smartphones, sometimes I agree with it in the sense that sometimes it's hard to agree with.
Yeah.
But then people will go straight for the emotion, they'll go straight for the character, what is happening in the story, because the face expression also tells a lot. So sometimes you're cutting a lot just between your OS and your mid shots and your close. So the style of shooting I've realized for OTT has changed from compared to shooting with for the theater.
Absolutely. You know, because I talk to clients and I'm dealing with them. And they send me some references and things like that, right? And then they talk about cost and things like that. The problem is, how do you say ki you spend more, you get better? You're getting it?
Yeah,
So,
just start shooting them with something else
because
other than a camera.
they're coming up with they're coming up with a reference which
Yeah.
is basically average price maybe,
Yeah.
but according to them it's shot very nicely. ये कैसे किया? फिर
Yeah.
तुम कैसे नहीं कर सकते हो?
Yeah.
Okay, but that and it's a very convincing, it's a very difficult part to convince that आप ये नहीं बोल सकते ना कि आप ARRI hire करो तो this is the
Yeah,
quality
yeah.
that you'll get versus you hire Venice or versus you hire a Phantom.
Yeah.
This is what you get. He doesn't understand this aspect of things.
Yeah.
And cut to now the real generation where they're happy with anything and everything, which is because
They say that, but they still want the quality of an ad film, even though it's a reel. And they'll come and say also that the studies are showing that the people are not connecting with over polished and over advertising looking films anymore.
yeah.
There was a moment where people were getting excited by it, but I think it's coming back to some sort of a middle ground where they don't want to oversell the product, but they also want their product to look good.
Which brings me to the thing that these days it's coming to AI based films.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you see filmmaking going there? Because now we are talking about from analog to digital to reels to now it's going to AI.
In the last three web series, the last two web series, my last film, I used Midjourney extensively to generate AI frames to translate my thought to the team. Like
Which will fantastically work.
I could literally put in the color palette, the light palette, exactly where I wanted the car, what lens, everything is in your control, which was great for me to be able to communicate that. Then you see that with Sora, with all of these other sort of softwares coming in and just sweeping the market with such, you just take that same Midjourney frame now, you pop it into a software and then it makes the video for
Correct.
you. But now the thing is that the world and the industry works in such a way that it will take time for people to adapt to this. We have a couple of years. The technology
Definitely.
might be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Flying cars exist, but you're still jumping in a rickshaw and going.
Correct.
There's a system that happens, and for that system to break, it'll take some time.
Yeah.
If you see, I am not someone that is against it. You have to go with the flow of current in the industry. It will change the job of the HOD. Okay, so right now, unless you're very well educated in all departments, a director will talk about a person coming in. He is in this somber mood, all of that stuff. He'll write it that way. But then, when a DOP prompts, it will be a cool color temperature, wide shot with some rain on the window, with some ripples coming on his
Correct.
face. The way I would prompt the AI would be different.
Correct.
So I feel like for people who want to get into AI, start learning the art of prompting, because that is now going to be the main thing.
Of course.
And what is going to give you the upper hand over other people.
Of course.
Because anyway, the rest of the work the software is really doing for you.
Yeah.
So even though AI comes, I feel it will come, but it'll take a while before the industry shifts completely into AI.
Yeah.
Some jobs will be lost, some jobs will be shifted. like I did a promo for Aryanak. Okay, so we had blue screen, we had the Bolt. So we were shooting motion control. We had turntables. So we're doing this full 360 wrap around her. And as the camera wraps around her, characters get revealed, and there's like this moonlight behind and in the forest and all of that stuff. So obviously I had something in my mind. I put one light over there which would emulate the moonlight, and certain cues and certain eye lines, all of this stuff you create when you're shooting. So luckily enough, the production even booked my dates and paid me for a 1-day DOP fees to come to the post house and sit with the team and build the background. So I'll tell them this was where the moon was supposed to be. So the trees have to part like this so that the rays of the light come in this way. So essentially it's the old school version of what you're
Of
about
course.
to do.
Yeah.
But now you're going to just be able to prompt exactly this and not have 3 guys with high-end machines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sir, please wait. We have to wait for now 3-4
Render hona
hours to
chahiye.
render. Now it's just going to be pup, So it's like you're still getting the visual that you want, but just in a different method.
Yeah, so it's making things faster. Basically, what we could do in
Yeah, I guess
days.
you could say faster
Yeah.
and easier. You know what I mean? And I guess once you get the handle of it, it'll come to your advantage.
Of course, amazing. So now, I happen to see that you were part of American Cinematographer Awards,
Yes.
and I saw a reel of yours, which
Yeah.
you and your dad were a part of it.
Yeah.
How did that happen? And
So there are 2 connections. So there's a product called Hydroflex in our company Stereo Vision. So Hydroflex is a underwater housing which you can put the Venice Red Phantom, multiple cameras because it's more modular. We have underwater lighting, underwater sound communication system, safety diver systems. I'm an underwater cinematographer myself.
I know.
So the owner of Hydroflex is a guy called Pete Romano. So Mr. Pete Romano is probably the #1 underwater cinematographer in the world. 300, Inception, Titanic, James Bond, Mission Impossible, Batman, you name it. He shot with everybody and Wes Anderson and everybody. So he never sells this equipment, but luckily we formed a nice relationship with him, and he was kind enough to sell us one of those housings. And I, in fact, studied in LA with the ASC. I did a masterclass.
Oh, lovely.
So, and Mr. Pete Romano was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award by the ASC, and he invited us to join him at the awards.
Nice.
So that was like,
So-
for me, when I saw that invitation, I flipped out. Like it
What was like a vibe
It was a dream. The thing is that they have something called the ASC Clubhouse, which is something which for many years I really wished we had over here. The ASC is an invite-only based community where the top DOPs in the world get invited. Mr. Santosh Sivan and Mr. Ravi K. Varman are now or Ravi Varman, sorry, are the people who are invited to the ASC. So when you go there, they have like a little cigar bar lounge, single malt, a wall which has all of their portraits, a little projection room. They have a very close sense of community over there, and like it just I've spoken
It's
about
a
this
DOP's
earlier.
hangout
It's
space.
a DOP's hangout space, and in that hangout space, you will find one guy from Ari chilling over there, one guy from Kino, guy from Red. But I'm also trying to find a way that how they are more friends. It's not like an official sort of a thing, but
no
it's like
business,
it's more
no
they
business.
they just hang out and they talk and stuff like that. So that is something that we were trying to do. And a couple of months ago, Malay Prakash, Jay Oza, Sylvester, myself, Jay Charola, a bunch of other people, we just like made a group and said, hey, we're all going to Woodside and we'll get beers, come.
Awesome.
Whole bunch of DPs are there getting drunk.
Nice.
One of the best nights ever. You know what I mean? Like when you see that, like you just get replies from other people, like writers and directors and costume stylists and PDs, and they're like, I don't hang out with any other PDs, or I don't hang out with any other stylists. Like it's so nice to see a bunch of DOPs get together and do that, and I feel like the reason of this platform is that I want to tell people that we should start doing more of this.
Definitely. No, the simple thing of appreciation, and that itself is a great thing for human beings.
Yeah.
Like you said, Jay Charula, all those people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're a community, you still have time to watch each other's work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why
I think people have 7 to 10 seconds to watch everyone's ads nowadays, because
in this busy day,
maximum it's 20 seconds.
Correct. In this busy days, he's also shooting, you're also shooting. Where do you actually go and follow each other's work?
Yeah.
So when you're a community, you appreciate each other's work, or even for that matter, not just appreciate, you talk bad also, say the good and bad things
Yeah.
about it. That itself is a good thing, no? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's also learning.
Yeah, no doubt
And
about
don't,
that.
and we are talking it as a friendly way. You're not
Yeah.
taking it to your ego.
Correct.
Yeah, you're
Correct.
talking it in a very
Yeah, I guess
friendly
leaving
manner.
your ego behind is one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking to someone else who's in a similar career field, like if you're talking to
Absolutely.
another DP or something like that, you know. But yeah, man, I just feel like, you know, this message that I really am trying to spread is that, you know, just seeing that how people can grow by sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why I've started putting up so much of BTS of my shoots, and you know, talking about techniques of how we've shot it. And there's a very close friend of mine and a very good director. His name is Devang Singh, and he's also becoming a DP right now. So like, so he's doing his director DOP stuff, and he calls me and he's like, "Hey bro, this is the scene." I'm like, you know what? Don't use that diffusion. Use this diffusion. Use this light. Take my AC. Use my gaffer. And if I need
Exactly.
something, you
Look
know
at
what I
that. I
mean?
mean, that's like a
Yeah, I'm
fantastic
directing
thing.
something. He'll give me a tip or a trick. You know what I mean? And there's no like, oh, we both pitched for that same job,
Yeah.
but
Fuck
it's
that.
like,
I mean,
dude,
how does
yeah,
it? How
you'll
does?
get it, I'll get it, but we're all getting work. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So let's not be like, you know, be antsy and be like weird about it. You know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
of
mean?
course. I mean, that's a brilliant community building
Yeah.
is definitely needed.
Yeah.
That's what lacks in this Indian industry. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree to it. Cool. So moving to let's talk about a little bit about your experiences in the films that you shot, and because
Yeah.
I know you from the ad days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 300 plus ads you have done. So is it because you got done and dusted with that you went to films?
300 plus happened long by. I think I've
Yeah.
crossed 500 right now,
Yeah, so that's
probably.
what. So I'm saying films, then web series. So now, how has that journey been? I mean, because you worked with Dramatics, you worked with.
So this is a hot take. Okay. We all joined the film industry to make films.
Yeah.
And then I somehow ended up shooting ad films because the products that we have at Stereo Vision were very specialty products.
Correct.
So Stereo Vision was the first company to bring in the digital phantom high-speed camera into the country.
I know that.
So I got trained in New York at Vision Research, and I was the first DIT in the country. So I ended up going with the camera because I was a trained DOP that was trained on the phantom camera. It was very important for a company that if you're a DOP that's never worked on a digital high-speed camera, it shouldn't matter to you because I'm handling all of the boring bits.
Correct.
You know? So when you're in that world, you don't really meet as many filmmakers. So then I became a DP, started shooting for years, started shooting many ad films. And then after a point, you just reach a mental fatigue where you're like, you know, you just want to explore something more in your soul. So there's a director, Isha Nair, is a photographer, very sweet guy, and his friend is Sonam Nair, right? So Sonam Nair is the director of Masaba Masaba.
Yeah.
So casually, I'm on an ad film, and you know, we became close. And Isha and me, we just generally talk a lot of banter at the monitor. And I was just like, you know what, bro? I think I just want to do something different. I want like, you know, some long format. I'm just getting keyed out. That's what I want to, and this whole manifestation started.
Yeah.
Religion, we'll come to it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't believe in religion, but I believe in power and spirituality. So I was like, you know, yeah, I want to do it. I'm going to do it. And randomly, he met Sonam and said, you know, you're shooting Masaba, the new season. There's this DP Anuj, you should meet him. Ended up meeting her. We hit it off in the meeting. And then I ended up shooting my first web series, which was Masaba Masaba.
Yeah.
Then again, through word of mouth, through contact, and randomly at a monitor, I just look at this one director friend and said, dude, I want to do a web series. And then it ends up happening. You know what I mean? It's very weird.
Yeah.
And then after that, CA Topper happened, then Call Me Bae happened, then Nadanya happened. So suddenly it just became one after the other.
So how like how you said, what is that difference, that freedom that you find?
Yeah.
That you, okay, here I understand client, brand,
Yeah.
this, Anuj, this shot, Anuj, this is
Yeah.
brand mandate.
So when you're shooting an ad film, you will get a PPM deck, post PPM deck. Then the briefing call happens. So there's a storyboard. So there's a guy who's a storyboard artist who's told you how to frame.
Yeah, of course.
And that frame is now approved by the client, which means you have to shoot that frame. Okay. Then there's a lighting reference.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's a brand color. And then with many other big brands, attached to it is a brand guide.
Correct.
The brand guide is skin tone has to look like this. The blue has to be this color.
Product can't be
Okay.
kept like this. It has
Yeah.
to be kept like this.
Everything is there. You have to follow that. Now I come on set. What do you think I'm thinking? Show the deck. Where's that thermocol with all the boards?
Put it.
Okay. Then I'll add something. One different, I'll add one movement. Wait, let's try this handheld. Something you will try, because you're like,
Of course.
okay, I'm getting paid, do something a little different. But now on a Netflix project, I have my own vision board. When I'm reading the script, what am I looking for in the character? In that character's world, what am I thinking about? What is the progression of the lighting on the character? Am I starting with softer light, then towards the end, am I going a little harder with it, making him feel a little whatever? So you're thinking about multiple things of even what lensing to shoot for emotion. And in a Netflix PPM, the DOP will walk in front of all the people and present his deck.
Correct.
Now when you're shooting, you film a shot, the director loves the shot, got it, moving on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But what do you enjoy?
I enjoy both, because you have to understand that shooting ad films has made me a way better DOP in long format.
Absolutely.
In a month, I'll meet 4 different directors. One day I'm shooting narrative, LIC, something, some cute conversation between a family. One day you're shooting a hair commercial. One day you're shooting a car somewhere in Uttarakhand. One day you're shooting a beer commercial. It's so random and so vast that in 1 month, I've created 6 different color palettes.
Which brings, that the whole aspect of, like, when I worked with you, I think the best experience I had was using that bold with you.
Yeah.
And I also see that your team is very experimental. So
Yeah.
just put some insight on that with respect to how do you think that, okay, fine, bolt I have to use for this, or rather I need to make something.
Yeah, there's an advantage of being a director, being a DOP, and being the operator of the bolt.
Yeah.
So I understand what she can do. By the way, her name's Roxanne.
Bolt's name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and she's one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Of course. Yeah, I mean,
So once you know what the robot's capable of doing, you're trained on it, and you are inherently a creative also. You find ways to mess around or
do you talk to her?
Of course. After every pack up, I go hug and I give her a kiss and I leave.
Nice.
So the thing is that the team also, they are very tech savvy. They've been with me for a while, and they sort of understand my style as well. And they sort of just riff off my vibe and my energy. And fun shots come from fun energy and fun surroundings.
Absolutely.
I feel like when we were younger, our parents didn't be like, no, beta, you will become filmmaker.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We chose to become filmmakers, and we should be happy that we're in these positions.
Absolutely.
And the place that we're in an environment of a bunch of people who just love creating visuals.
I say I do. Even if I have to tell my daughter also, I'll say I do everyday new things in life.
Yeah.
And that's why I love my job.
Yeah.
I don't just go and sit there and do the
Correct.
same shit again and again.
Correct.
And again.
Correct.
Even if I have to make
No
budget.
offense, but if I still haven't received I hope this email finds you well.
Yeah.
And I hope I never reach a situation
Exactly.
where I have to receive an email like
That's what keeps me alive. Today I have to think of an ad, tomorrow I need to think of a web series.
Yeah.
So that's what keeps me alive. in a way.
Yeah. Correct.
So experimenting with equipments,
Yeah.
bringing to that.
Yeah.
Can you give me some of the best of the crazy stuff that you have done with equipments?
We did a single shot action sequence, maybe about 30-35 seconds with the bolt, which is complicated if you see it. You're probably watching it as I talk about it. It's the opening title sequence, title scene of CA Topper. Well, it's these 2 characters in a bathroom, and they're obviously very quirky characters. You're probably seeing it. So we thought of creating this comedic action sequence,
Okay.
where the camera is a part of the fight.
Oh, nice.
So it's very choreographed and synchronized, so that there's literally camera movements, and they lead the camera into certain things. So it's this very fun start-stop sort of a situation.
How
where
long did you take
one thing leads to another. On the lighting day, we ended up getting the bolt.
Okay.
And I got the PDs to take that wall off so that I could get the bolt into the bathroom. And it took us probably say 4 to 5 hours of programming and getting the sync between the robot and the people. And then on the day of the shoot, we got it in 2 takes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's like the actors were really, attentive, and they knew where they had to be. And because there were the tile, they were like, "Don't give us the marks. We'll make sure we hit it." So like when you get that energy from the actors as well, you kind of end up making like
So
something nice.
Roxanne, right? Roxanne
Yeah.
did a great job.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, Tribhuvan is the only long format that I've done which had a lot of action, a lot of gunfights, um, chases, stuff like that. And, well, to begin with, Puneet Krishna, Amrit, the two, pillars of
Yeah.
CA Topper. It was also interesting that from the start, I knew that I had to have a very balanced team. So when we are shooting with two cameras, I essentially am at the monitor, so that I'm seeing how both frames are lit, how both frames are sort of moving, because I love shooting handheld. So sometimes if both of my people are shooting handheld, both my ACs, one guy will be doing this, one guy will be doing this. So I'll have to be like, slow down, you, this, that. So, you know what I mean? I like to be at the monitor. So I had one female camera op because we had a lot of sex to shoot. And obviously, even in the AD teams and stuff like that, we had to have a very well balanced sort of a team, make sure that everyone is like comfortable.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of like how did we want to shoot the sex? How is it different from a husband and wife having sex, and the same guy as a gigolo, how's he having sex with
Correct.
the clients? So, it was like, let's do more telly, more like dolly track, a lot of eye contact, stuff like that. And we'd shoot it like a little bit more pure and a little bit more romantic. And the other stuff is like more wide lensing, very handheld, like, there's no eye contact, it's just like pure pleasure. So, like, finding that sort of a difference. And then, like, creating color palettes for different spaces. Like, I use the color green a lot for when guns are involved. I use the green a lot for the negative character. So each world I had created lighting color palettes for.
Okay.
But in the colony, we shot in a real colony.
Nice.
With actually there's a whole bunch of people around, and they obviously didn't know exactly what the script was at the time. But they were very sweet, and for the fact that we were shooting nights in this corner house, which is Tribhuvan's house, while the entire society was living around us, and
Of
shooting wale, how we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
Somehow we had some sort of empathy for the people around us, and we were quite well behaved.
No, the actors, Manav and all
Yeah.
are there.
No, there of course, but I'm saying generally the lightmen, the assistants, because everyone's in the periphery and people
Correct.
are sleeping right next to windows and stuff, so
Correct,
you have to
yeah.
like figure out how you
Yeah.
do that. But that was also a very tricky aspect of shooting in a real colony with real neighbors and stuff like that, which was interesting. She
Awesome.
always does.
Yeah. So and I've also seen in one of your BTS some a lot of with food and stuff like that. You play around with products especially.
Yeah.
So what are some of the crazy stuff that you've done?
So whenever it comes to product, beauty,
I think Fonseca is your best friend.
yeah, I mean, Joel and Goldwyn are pretty much the product kings, and then we have some other companies coming
of
in like
course.
Famous and stuff. But then Joel especially, since I started the days clean shaven, I had spiked hair till here, spring in my step,
I can't
brand new
imagine
in
you
the
there.
industry. Yeah, let's pop up some images now. I'll send you a few. So I saw him, and that's also one of the reasons why I fell in love with product, because going with the Phantom, you would be on many product shoots, because some of the heavy things that I used with the Phantom are action, dance, product. You know what I mean? And beauty. And that's pretty much the kind of niche that I ended up graduating
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me now, with respect to apart from camera and
Yeah.
apart from direction, what else do you do in life?
I'm a DJ.
Awesome.
I love to travel, and I feel like
What kind of music you enjoy?
So I play electronic music, like techno, deep house, some tech house. It depends on the kind of venue, the time, and the space. And I do often with my friends travel for music festivals, and then once we are done with the festival, then probably just see the country. So it's like I love music and cinema, and just creating visual. These are the two things that I indulge in. And I just wish DJs got paid more. I would have probably DJed a lot more.
As a DOP, how much of like a DOP who believes in natural light is a producer's friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how much do you think you love natural lighting?
So there are a couple of aspects to understand what this means. Like I um, my first time on set as an intern was Delhi 6.
Hmm.
And we had the first lady from LA. So we were sort of following the more American style of functioning on set. So abroad, the clap is the camera team,
Yeah.
not the ADs.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm near the camera, near the actors, all of that stuff. We've come in the morning. I've set up. We're going for the first shot, and Mr. Binod comes and he looks around, and it's like cloudy, and it looks like it's heavy cloud. And he goes to Rakesa and says, like, I don't think the light's good today. And Rakes's like, yeah, fine, we'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
If a DOP did that today, he'd never get work for the rest of his life. Now you come earlier, you would come with a short list of 4 shots, 5 shots. Okay, shoot in angular light. Lunchtime, everyone take a breather and come back. We'll shoot again when the sun's angular. We'll flip the axis, it'll become backlight for the other character. We'll shoot. Now you have 21 shots to shoot.
In a day.
You have to skim the sun and you have to light and control the light.
Yeah.
Sun has set, AD is saying, can we take 4 close-ups?
Yeah.
So now it's like you have to create that environment and protect
I buy that.
the light so
I
that
totally
it
buy that,
stays
yeah.
good throughout.
So coming to underwater.
Yeah.
So you've been trained in that, and I think in your last film also you have you've done an underwater
Yes.
sequence, and very few DOPs. There are specialized DOPs
Yes.
actually for underwater.
Correct.
There are very few of them who does underwater and the normal
Yeah.
DOP. So what inspired you, and what is a
So I've always been a water baby. Like I will learn to swim in the ocean. Chennai, luckily we have beaches where we can swim.
Yeah.
Compared to here.
Here you can't swim.
You
You'll
can't,
be
you
black
can't put
color.
your toe it only.
You'll be black color.
Yeah. So I love the water, and I actually took a while to take the step. I don't know what stopped me. I should have done it earlier, to be honest with you, because even before the current Hydroflex housing we had, we were doing underwater housings for the ARI 3, right? We have a great underwater diving team. They call the Underwater Film Services. They provide safety diving. They provide helping set construction underwater. They train the actors on how to swim if you need, all of that sort of stuff. And we have an entire ecosystem, the equipment, the safety system. And until recently, obviously, we had so many underwater divers who are cinematographers. Actually, when I mean so many, I literally mean 6 or 7. It's actually very few. But then I just feel like I always like to keep challenging myself, and just coming up with something new. And I feel like every couple of years, I will end up learning something new. And with any cinematographer, you can never say you know everything, because the industry is developing so fast that moment you say that, oh, I think I know it all, there's 5 other things that have come out that you have to learn on.
Of course.
So I just felt like after a point that I should be doing this, and I just took the step, and I had the opportunity that I knew I had a film coming up. And when I read the script, the first time it just said opening sequence, he's in the pool, I was like, you know what? Just literally take the dive, you know what I mean, and do it. And now I'm next now getting into virtual production. I want to understand that world and sort of see what that has to offer. And in fact, we're going to be doing a shoot on virtual production soon, so that is probably my next kira that I'm going to get into.
Do you believe in a work-life balance? And if you do, what is it that you do?
I believe in it, but I don't have one. I feel like the scale is tipped heavily towards work, and I'm starting to maybe think twice about having this sort of a balance, because I think the sort of trigger started post-COVID, because it's like you keep working and then you keep working and then you make money and then you keep working and then suddenly you're too old and you're like, what did I work for? What was the point of it?
So is that marriage?
I'm still single and I'm balding, I have white beard, and I mean, I'm happy. Work-life balance, I don't think is the same thing as a love life. It could be just time for yourself, your family, your friends, doing things that you want to do apart from just going to a studio and
Yeah.
getting your fix from work. But yeah, love will happen when it has to, and it'll probably happen on a film
Really?
set because you keep spending so much time. I keep spending so
It
much
still
time.
didn't happen?
It's happened a bit, but as of now, nothing really. But yeah, man, it's an important thing to have, and I feel like the film industry romanticizes burning out and working hard and shooting 20 hours, and we should stop that toxic thought.
Yeah.
Because it's like people come on set, it's like, bro, I shot for 20 hours yesterday, freaking two. Why? Don't you want to just shoot for 8 hours, go home, go to the gym, eat a meal, go out, watch a movie and sleep? Or do you want to just come with red eyes with a caffeine drip near the monitor and be like, action! You know what I mean? Nobody wants that life, man. But the industry has become very saturated that the production houses are taken advantage of by the clients and the agencies because they know they can, and there's always someone who's willing to say yes.
Yeah, of course. No,
But-
see,
but,
I'll tell you,
you
I'll
know,
tell you, I'll tell you, I'll tell
it's
you the
one
other,
of
the
those
other
things.
side. It's not about the brownie point, but it's also about the fact that, see, it all boils down to money at the end of the day, definitely. But when you're almost 90% down the shoot, and when you want to finish the rest of the 10%, and if the client is saying that fuck you, I'm not going to pay you
Yeah.
for this. So now you might be able to go tomorrow and fight for it and take it.
Yeah.
But tonight, who will take the call?
Yeah, correct. And in your mind, you have to finish the film.
Yeah,
and it
well,
becomes a bit.
tonight everybody goes home. I
Yeah.
can't recall everyone. Chalo, come everyone tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't get dates. I can't get this. I have a deadline. I have everything in my
Yeah,
stake.
correct.
So that's the only thing. Otherwise, I am at least me personally. I would say 12 hours, and we should go home. We should 12 hours.
What does your
12
producers?
hours.
What does your producers union say about it?
No, 12 hours is. I'll tell you, 12 hours is
They're like,
for
make
you.
them 48 hours only.
12 hours is technically speaking is
12
for
hours
you.
is too little to shoot.
12 hours is not to shoot. 12 hours is for you to pack up and fuck
Yeah,
the set.
yeah.
Here, the 12th hour we say pack up.
Yeah.
How much do you believe in referencing?
Referencing, I am a strong believer that nothing is truly creative. Like nothing is truly original, actually. I feel like your creativity is a mixture of your experiences of the world, things that you've seen, that you've grown up, that you've exposed yourself to, and that you like. And somehow it's a mishmash, and your interpretation of that, and you call it original.
But and your particular shot could be a reference to somebody. at the end of the day.
100%. But I'm just saying, to start with, what is creativity and originality, I don't think can be truly original. Everything is something or the other inspired from somewhere, subconsciously or consciously.
Yeah.
And I believe that being someone that has the background of ad filmmaking, where it's a heavy referencing sort of a background, I use that in long format.
Yeah.
I create mood boards. My Instagram, I have multiple folders. In my laptop, I have folders which are color palette, framing, production design, actor blocking. But then there are all these like wish list things where I'm like, I want to do something like this. It might not be an exact replica, but obviously there's inspiration. And then when you're reading the script, you sort of be like, hey, you know what? We can do that with this or that with this. And then you connect the dots and you just do a mix and match. And I love referencing. I use Shot Deck a lot. Shot Deck recently is the newer software which helps you do a referencing. You can plug in what kind of lensing, what aspect ratio, how many actors, mid shot, OS, space, night, day, everything.
Nice.
You can put in as filters, and then it starts giving you images, and then it builds up on that. So it's a great tool for you to sort of reference. And because see, the thing is that referencing is important because you're trying to make one image with 50 people.
Yeah.
You will have something in your head. You will tell
Yeah.
the other guy that this is
Correct.
what I want. He'll interpret it how he wants. She will interpret it what she thinks is the right. So once it comes all together, sometimes there's disjointedness. So if you have a reference, it just makes it easier to be like, hey guys, this is what we want to achieve. How can we make this better? The main
Correct.
goal is to make it better and not just replicate. If you already have something that's nice,
For aspiring DOPs,
yeah.
basically, lastly. Yeah, so what is that? Now, I mean, your struggle was different. Now, in this world, it's like suppose you want to be ad film director or a ad film DOP who is famous for certain style or so, that happens over a period of year. But to step into an ad film and to choose whether ad film is what you want to do or if filmmaking is what you want to do, because आजकल ना किसी के पास patience नहीं है, time नहीं है, तो
Yeah.
बच्चे जितने भी बच्चे हैं,
Yeah.
or I would, let's not call बच्चे,
Yeah.
let's put it as people, youngsters who they want
Yeah.
quick growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're an AC in one, next DOP.
Yeah.
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 So what do you think, that is that good or
So there are a couple of things. I feel like one is in the start you will have to financially be backed in some way to be able to be on sets, because most DPs have their teams and it's literally 2 to 3 people, man.
Yeah.
And the handful of DPs that people want to assist, most of them will already have their teams.
Yeah.
The way to be able to get into a team, and most DPs, if you be like, I just want to intern, this is sort of my background and my history, sort of try to put together something which you can show of what you've done. It doesn't have to be high budget, but the way to approach is one of the most things where people get wrong. Okay, so I'll just give you some instances. In my inbox, hi bro. Hi. Hey. What do you want? Who are you? The responses get from the people who send me a message. Hi, my name is XYZ. I am this years old. I live here. I've studied this. I appreciate this, what you do. I will bring value to your team if you give me the chance. Hi, bro. I want to learn lighting from you. Am I a film school? I'll teach you. But how do you approach it? You will be like, I want to learn from you. I am not looking to teach. I am looking for assistants who will work, who will bring value to the team, who will bring some sort of strength to the chaos that we are doing every day.
Correct.
Called filmmaking. So one big advice is how you approach DPs. Put it all in one message and tell the people what your strengths are.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because no one is out here looking to come cuddle you and be like, what do you want to learn? 3-point lighting. Okay, come sit on the dolly. I'll teach you. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's how you approach. Very important. Learn skills that some other people might not have. Because if you're the new Gen Z, utilize that to sort of bring in this new value to you that, you know what I mean? Can bring to the team, basically. And the other thing is experiment and just shoot nowadays there are so many models that just want stuff to be shot. There are so many places you might have to just do stuff for free. It's like a chicken and egg story. What came first?
Yeah.
If you want to do a shoot, they will show the reel. But if you don't give me the shoot, how will I get anything on the reel? That is always the biggest question. You might have to do a couple of jobs for free just to get something.
The hang of it. Yeah.
Get the hang of it and get something going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Put yourself out there, communicate well, educate yourself in places where you can bring value to a team. And these 3, and number 4, most important, be a good person.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to work 48 hours with some character who is annoying to be around.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're at least pleasant to be around. You carry yourself well.
Energy.
Your energy has to be good.
Yeah.
I feel like I select my team primarily because you're going to be around them. I meet my team more than my family and my friends. I'm shooting so much.
Yeah.
So you want the people that are around you to have a certain nice energy to themselves and to conduct themselves well and be nice around. And even if you're a DP working with directors, try to be a people's person. Try to be someone that you can communicate well with other people. And because people will sometimes choose a DOP who's a 8 on 10, but because he's a good guy, versus a 10 on 10 DOP who's a annoying person.
Yeah. Correct.
You know what I mean? I
Absolutely.
feel like that tends to drift in that direction. So
Cool. Nice answer.
yeah,
I
I
mean, yeah,
think
that's a good
yeah,
insight which you've given.
yeah,
Cool. So I think that brings an end. Yeah.
awesome.
So everybody, this was a fantastic episode. I think loaded with insights. I think I learned a lot from Anuj, and thank you so much for giving in your time. And stay tuned to watch more episodes of Beyond the Briefs and keep watching.